Okay. It is preparing to live stream my meeting, which we all know could mean everything and it could mean nothing. And we don't trust it. But now I'm live. Hello and welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa. I will be your librarian today, as I have been for every Tea and New Book Tuesday. Yeah, I am being live streamed. I'm aware. Okay. So today we're going to talk about books Mobile Public Library has pre-ordered for October, specifically our yellow labels, which are mystery, thriller, and suspense. We put those together. I think they end up, this makes sense to me as a reader. These three kind of separate genres feel similar from the reader and experience. Like if you talk about something like Jason Bourne, that's not technically a mystery because he's finding who he is, but if you're the reader, you still don't know what's coming and clues are being given to you. And so it feels like a mystery. Am I making any sense? I'm having a very weird day, so maybe I'm not making any sense. But anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about mysteries, thrillers, and suspense. But first, we're going to do my favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday, your favorite. Oh, wait. My tea today was, I stopped at Starbucks and got an ice cream tea on the way to work today. And now I'm having water so that I don't have any more caffeine. So it was iced tea today. Although I just got a new, okay. I got a new thing for making loose leaf tea, which maybe I should just bring in so I can show you. And that would be an excuse to have my lemon lavender tea here. Any excuse, you know. Okay, but we're moving on to your favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday, my favorite part of Tea and New Book Tuesday, the part where I give away books. I'm going to read descriptions for 5 of the 6 books I have for you. I'm going to hold on to one of them because it's one of today's books and it isn't even out yet. So we'll talk about that one when we hit that on the regular part of the show. First up, I actually have 2 copies of this, Falling by T.J. Newman. We've discussed it before. I think we've discussed it both in the show and then also when I tried to give away the other one. But I now have 2, if anybody wants one. This is the book that's about the pilot's family is kidnapped. You're on the plane. And for his family to survive, everyone on the plane must die. So if you're interested in that, give me the name of the book, Falling, and your preferred MPL location for pickup in the comments down below. Moving on to our next one. We talked about this one too, Taylor Moore's Downrange. This is part of a series, but I think you can pick up with this book and still be okay. As a decorated undercover DEA agent, Garrett Cole has traveled the world and fought in most of it. But it's the high plains of Northwest Texas he calls home and dreams of returning to one day. Cole is in the middle of an assignment in Afghanistan where his commander orders him back to Texas on a short mission expected to take a week at most, but he's unsettled to discover that he's moved from one kind of war to another. The once peaceful ranching community he loves is under attack by a band of criminals controlled by a rich, entitled businessman who has infiltrated law enforcement, corrupted local businesses, and is now terrorizing Cole's own family. Hoping to prevent bloodshed, Cole tries to resolve matters peacefully, but when the group strikes first, he has no choice but to go on the attack. So that's Taylor Moore's Downrange. Next up, I think we talked about this one too. Sometimes I get the books before we've talked about them. Sometimes I get them after, like, you know, the publisher sends them to us when they send them to us because we're not asking for these. They're just sending them at will. Sometimes librarians will ask for a specific book, but obviously we then keep that book and read it. And it might be offered to me after that. But yeah, so it's bedlam. The stuff that we get is just, if we get it when we get it. This is The Bombay Prince, a mystery of 1920s India by Sajuta Massey. So this is November 1921. Edward VIII, Prince of Wales and future ruler of India, is arriving in Bombay to begin a 4-month tour. The Indian subcontinent is chafing under British rule, and Bombay solicitor Perveen Mystery isn't surprised when local unrest over the royal arrival spirals into riots. But she's horrified by the death of Frenry Cuddingmester, an 18-year-old female Parsi student who falls from a second-floor gallery just as the prince's grand procession is passing by her college. Frenny had come for a legal consultation just days before her death, and what she confides makes Perveen suspicious that her death was not an accident. Feeling guilty for failing to have helped Frenny in life, Perveen steps forward to assist Frenny's family in the fraught dealings of the coroner's inquest. When Frenny's death is ruled a murder, Perveen knows she can't rest until she sees justice done. But Bombay is erupting. An armed British Secret Service marches the streets, rioters attack anyone with perceived British connections, and desperate shopkeepers destroy their own wares so they will not be the targets of racial violence. Can Perveen help a suffering family when her own is in danger? There we go. A couple more here. A Bitter Taste of Murder by Camilla Trinchieri, which is a Tuscan mystery, so a mystery set in Tuscany. 1 year after moving to his late wife's Tuscan hometown of Gravinga, Nico Doyle has finally settled into life there, seeing friends in the course of daily events and helping to serve and test recipes at his in-laws' restaurant. But the town is shaken by the arrival of wine critic Michel Mantelli in his flashy Jaguar. Mantelli holds his influential culinary magazine and blog over Gravinga's vintners and restaurateurs, and to Marcelo Perillo's dismay, the traffic laws. He has either impressed or ticked off most of the residents, but most of all, Nico's landlord, Aldo Ferreri, whose vineyard Mantelli seems intent on ruining. Mantelli's lavish, larger-than-life, and often vindictive personality has made him many enemies, and when he is poisoned, Perillo has a headache of a high-profile murder on his hands, and once again turns to Nico for help. Okay, so that's The Bitter Taste of Murder. And the last one is probably the biggest release of the group, except for maybe the one that I'm holding back. Jeffrey Archer's Over My Dead Body. I'm pretty sure we talked about this recently. Of course, I only just now received it. This doesn't come out until October 19th. So this is a pre-release, and there's almost nothing in terms of description in here. I think they're expecting you to want it based on basically Jeffrey Archer's name being on it, which he has a lot of fans, and for good reason, but this is how much description I have. An unputdownable story of murder, revenge, and betrayal from international #1 bestseller Jeffrey Archer, a roller coaster thriller which takes Detective William Warwick to the Cold Cases Unit, where he chases a killer who thinks they've got away with murder. And the little tagline is 4 cases, 4 killers, only one man can stop them. So that's Jeffrey Archer's Over My Dead Body. I have one more, but we won't talk about that until we talk about that, until we get to it, because it's on the list today. It is also not out yet. So if you want any of those books or the one that I'm going to go over here in a second, put the name of the book in the comments below, along with your NPL location for pickup, and I will start sending them out as soon as I can. Basically, probably right after this, depending on, I would like to share my screen. There we go. Let's go ahead and share, and it's trying to share that, which is not what I want. This is what I want. I want my Tea and New Book Tuesday slides with all the cool slidiness. There we go. We're going over October titles. More specifically, we're going over October's yellow labels. So let's get into yellow labels. All right. Starting out with The Savage Kind by John Copenhaver. By the way, there were a lot of titles eliminated from today. Obviously, anything that's like #2 or number 23 or number 5 in a series that's ended up on the discussion board for our Goodreads group. I also just had to add some titles because there was like more than a dozen when I narrowed it down, so I had to narrow it down further. If you're interested in any of those, I have already put up the discussion board post. You can get to them on the Teen New Book Tuesday group on Goodreads. Okay, moving on to The Savage Kind by John Copenhaver. Philippa Watson, a good-natured yet troubled 17-year-old, has just moved to Washington, D.C. She's lonely until she meets Judy Peabody, a brilliant and tempestuous classmate. The girls become unlikely friends and fashion themselves as intellectuals, drawing the notice of Christine Martins, their dazzling English teacher, who enthralls them with her passion for literature and her love of noirish detective fiction. When Philippa returns a novel Miss Martins has lent her, she interrupts a man grappling with her in the shadows. Frightened, Philippa flees, unsure who the man is or what she's seen. Days later, her teacher returns to school altered, a dark shell of herself. On the heels of her teacher's transformation, a classmate is found dead in the Anacostia River, murdered, the body stripped and defiled with a mysterious inscription. As the girls follow their clues and wrestle with newfound feelings towards each other, they suspect that the killer is closer than their circle, to their circle than they imagined, and that the greatest threat they face may not be lurking in the halls at school or in the city streets, but creeping out from a mysterious impulse of their own. This may be book one in a series. I found a note that said that, but I haven't found it since. So maybe, maybe not. But at any rate, if you're interested in The Savage Kind, it comes out on October 5th. Keep grabbing that mouse, even though it's not attached to anything. Okay. The Corpse Flower by Anne Met Hancock. This is a translation. This is the first time this book has been translated into English from, I think, Dutch? Honestly, don't know. Scandinavia. No, Danish. It's translated from the Danish. So I'm wondering if the title is like a Danish word or something that we don't use, like funeral flower or something. So we've ended up with The Corpse Flower as our title. At any rate, a Danish journalist digs deep to uncover a web of lies that stretches back to a grisly murder, but knowing the truth might put an end to her story. It's early September in Copenhagen. The rain has been coming down for weeks, and 36-year-old journalist Heloise Calden is in the middle of a nightmare. One of her sources has been caught lying, and she could lose her job over it. And then she receives the first in a series of cryptic and ominous letters from an alleged killer. Wanted in connection with the fatal stabbing of a young lawyer 3 years earlier, Anna Kiel hasn't been seen by anyone since she left the crime scene covered in blood. The police think she's fled the country and have zero clues as to her motive, but homicide detective Eric Schaefer comes up with the first lead when the reporter who first wrote about the case is found murdered in his apartment. Has Anna Kiel struck again, or is there more than one killer at large? And why does every clue point directly to Heloise Calden? Meanwhile, the letters keep coming, and they hint at a connection between Anna and Heloise. As Heloise starts digging deeper, she realizes that to tell Anna's story, she will have to revisit the darkest parts of her own past, confronting someone she swore she'd never see again. So this is described as the girl with the dragon tattoo meets sharp objects, which makes sense because it's Scandinavian. It's also from an internationally best-selling author, and is also described as a psychological thriller for fans of Jo Nesbø and Henning Mankell. It also got a starred review from Kirkus Magazine, and they are not one to give out praise very easily. So they liked it, and they don't like anything. If you're interested in The Corpse Flower, it comes out October 12th. I was looking at that thinking, I don't want to pronounce any of these names again. I'm just going to call the book by its title, and you're going to have to look up the author's name. Although her name wasn't hard. I feel like all the other names were hard. And I swear that's the case. You'll have an author with like a convoluted name, and all their characters are named like Jane Smith. Oh. So, yeah. although I might be overinterpreting these things. Okay, moving on to The Mother Next Door by Tara Laskowski. The annual Halloween block party is the pinnacle of the year on idyllic suburban cul-de-sac Ivy Woods Drive. An influential group of neighborhood moms, known as the Ivy Five, planned the event for months. Except the Ivy Five have been four for a long time. When a new mother moves to town, eager to fit in, the moms see it as an opportunity to make their group whole again. This year's block party should be the best yet, until the women start receiving anonymous messages threatening to expose the quiet neighborhood's dark past and the lengths they've gone to hide it. As secrets seep out and the threats intensify, the Ivy Five must sort the loyal from the disloyal, the good from the bad. They'll do anything to protect their families. But when a twisted plot is revealed with dangerous consequences, their steady foundation begins to crumble, leaving only one certainty. After this year's block party, Ivy Woods Drive will never be the same again. This is from an award-winning author. It's considered an atmospheric novel of domestic suspense in which the strive for perfection ends in murder. Sounds very interesting to me. Yes, so if you're interested in The Mother Next Door, comes out October 12th. You know what the weird thing about me being so spacey today? I actually slept really well last night. My vacation that I just returned from, I went to Colorado. It was amazing. Colorado's awesome. There's no air there, or there isn't enough to go around. I don't understand. I could not breathe everywhere I went. Walk 5 feet, pant. Walk 5 more feet, pant. My body should be prepared for elevations, or maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. One of my grandparents is a native Alaskan, so you'd think I'd be totally cool with mountains, but there's just no way around the whole altitude gives you less air thing. So I didn't sleep great when I was there, and I'm not sure if it was just I wasn't in my own bed, I didn't have my big pillow, I didn't have this, I didn't have my cat, or if it was just I wasn't able to breathe deeply enough to get a really good, long, dark sleep. So last night I slept for like 10 hours. And instead of waking up refreshed and ready to conquer the day, I woke up feeling somewhat better and ready to conquer the day, but still spacey as hell. So to end that story that you didn't ask for and didn't need, let's move on to the mystery giveaway of today, The Apollo Murders, which comes out October 12th. If you want this one, I'm going to describe it now. But as with the others, put the title in the comments below, along with your MPL location for pickup. Now, The Apollo Murders by Chris Hadfield. 1973, a final top secret mission to the moon. 3 astronauts in a tiny spaceship, 250,000 miles from home, 250,000 miles from help. NASA is about to launch Apollo 18. While the mission has been billed as a scientific one, flight controller Kazimierz Zemeckis, otherwise known as Kaz, definitely going to be known as Kaz from now on. Kaz knows there is a darker objective. Intelligence has discovered a secret Soviet space station spying on America, and Apollo 18 may be the only chance to stop it. But even as Kaz races to keep the NASA crew one step ahead of their Russian rivals, a deadly accident reveals not everyone involved is quite who they were thought to be. While political stakes stretch to the breaking point, the White House and the Kremlin can only watch as their astronauts collide on the lunar surface, far beyond the reach of law or rescue. Full of fascinating technical details that fans of The Martian loved, and reminiscent of the thrilling claustrophobic twists and tension of The Hunt for Red October, The Apollo Murders is a high-stake thriller unlike any other. Chris Hadfield captures the fierce G-forces of launch, the frozen lowlinesses of space, and the fear of holding on to the outside of a spacecraft orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles per hour, as only someone who has experienced all these things in real life can. Strap in and count down for the ride of a lifetime. We are also getting this on audiobook, and that record is up, so you can go ahead and put that on hold if you would prefer an audiobook to the book. And if you would prefer a book, you might consider putting it in the comments that you want it with your MPL location for pickup. For everyone else, it comes out October 12th. All right, moving on to No One Will Miss Her by Kat Rosenfeld, which, by the way, this is a terrific name for a mystery. I always appreciate a good title. Anyway, on a beautiful October morning in rural Maine, a homicide investigator from the state police pulls into the hard-luck town of Copper Falls. The local junkyard is burning, and the town pariah Lizzie Ouellette is dead, with her husband Dwayne nowhere to be found. As scandal rips through the community, Detective Ian Bird inquiries unexpected. What? I read these before I read them to you, by the way. It just doesn't always help. Okay. Detective Ian Bird's inquiries unexpectedly lead him away from small-town Maine to a swank city townhouse several hours south. Adrienne Richards, blonde and fabulous social media influencer and wife of a disgraced billionaire, has been renting Lizzie's tiny lake house as a country getaway, even though Copper Falls is anything but a resort town. As Adrienne's connection to the case becomes clear, so too does her connection to Lizzie, who narrates their story from beyond the grave. Each woman is desperately lonely in her own way, and they navigate a relationship that cuts across class boundaries, transactional, complicated, and finally, deadly. A gone girl for the gig economy, this is a story of privilege, identity, and cunning, as two devious women from opposite worlds discover the danger of coveting someone else's life. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly magazine. If you are interested in No One Will Miss Her, it comes out October 12th. All right, Every Hidden Thing by Ted Flanagan. The last scion of a once powerful political family, Worcester Mayor John O'Toole has his sights set on vastly higher aspirations. When night shift paramedic Thomas Archer uncovers a secret that could upend the mayor's career, O'Toole is set on silencing him and sends Amon Conroy, a brutal former cop, to ensure the truth remains under wraps. But O'Toole doesn't stop there. With bribes, buried secrets, and personal attacks, he wreaks havoc on Archer's life in an attempt to save himself. Archer's troubles continue to mount when domestic terrorist and militia member Gerald Knack, who blames Archer for his wife's recent death, sets in motion a deadly plan for revenge. With two forces of evil aligned against him, Archer doesn't stand a chance. But things aren't always what they seem, and he may just have a few tricks up his sleeve in his last gambit to get out alive. Okay, so if you are interested in Every Hidden Thing, it comes out October 12th. Up next, first I'm going to drink a little bit of water. And we're going to talk about As the Wicked Watch by Tamron Hall. When crime reporter Jordan Manning leaves her hometown in Texas to take a job at a television station in Chicago, she's one step closer to her dream, a coveted anchor chair on a national network. Jordan is smart and aggressive, with unabashed star power and often the only woman of color in the newsroom. Her signature? Arriving first on the scene in impractical designer stilettos. Armed with a master's degree in forensic science and impeccable instincts, Jordan has thus far been able to balance her dueling motivations, breaking every big story and giving voice to the voiceless. From her time reporting in Texas, she's sure she has covered the vilest of human behaviors. but nothing has prepared her for Chicago. You see, Jordan is that rare breed of journalist who can navigate a crime scene as well as she can a newsroom, often noticing what others tend to miss. Again and again, she is called to cover the murders of Black females, many of them sexually assaulted, most brutalized, all of them quickly forgotten. All until Macy James, the story that Jordan just can't shake, try as she might. A 15-year-old girl whose body was found in an abandoned lot, Macy has come to represent for Jordan all of the frustrations that her job, with its required distance, often forces her to repress. Putting the rest of her workload and her fraying personal life aside, Jordan does everything she can to give the story the coverage it desperately requires, and that of a Black missing child would so rarely get. 3 young boys are eventually charged with Macy's murder, but Jordan remains unconvinced. There's a serial killer on the loose, and he's hiding in plain sight. So this is going to be book 1 in a series. We are also getting it on audio if you're interested in his audiobook. Either way, as The Wicked Watch comes out October 26th. All right, I feel like there's a lot of buzz around this one. Although I don't have any starred reviews, but I'm kind of surprised about that. Anyway, The Unheard by Nikki French. Tessa's number 1 priority has always been her 3-year-old daughter, Poppy. But splitting up with Poppy's father, Jason, means that she cannot always be there to keep her daughter safe. When she finds a disturbed drawing, dark and menacing, among her daughter's brightly colored paintings, Tess is convinced that Poppy has witnessed something terrible, something that her young mind is struggling to put into words. But no one will listen. It's only a child's drawing, isn't it? Tess will protect Poppy, whatever the price. But when she doesn't know what or who she is protecting her from, how can she possibly know who to trust? So this is coming out, The Unheard, on October 26th. Okay. Where They Wait by Scott Carson. Recently laid off from his newspaper and desperate for work, war correspondent Nick Bishop takes a humbling job, writing a profile of a new mindfulness app called Clarity. It's easy money and a chance to return to his hometown for his first visit in years. The app itself seems like a retread of old ideas, relaxing white noise and guided meditations. But then there are the sleep songs. A woman's hauntingly beautiful voice sings a ballad that is anything but soothing. It's disturbing, really, more of a warning than a relaxation, but it works. Deep, refreshing sleep follows. So do nightmares. Vivid and chilling, they feature a dead woman who calls Nick by name and whispers guidance, or are they threats? And soon her voice follows him long after the song is done. As the effects of the nightmares begin to permeate his waking life, Nick makes a terrifying discovery. No one involved with Clarity has any interest in his article. Their interest is in him. Because while he may not have any memory of it, he's one of 20 people who have heard the sinister song before, and the only one who is still alive. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly. So if you are interested in Where They Wait, it comes out October 26th. Okay. These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. No electricity, no family, no connection to the outside world. For 8 years, Cooper and his young daughter Finch have lived in isolation in a remote cabin in the northern Appalachian woods. And that's exactly the way Cooper wants it, because he's got a lot to hide. Finch has been raised on the books filling the cabin shelves and the beautiful but brutal code of life in the wilderness. But she's starting to push back against the sheltered life Cooper has created for her, and he's still haunted by the painful truth of what it took to get them there. The only people who know they exist are a mysterious local hermit named Scotland and Cooper's old friend Jake, who visits each winter to bring them food and supplies. But this year, Jake doesn't show up, setting off an irreversible chain of events It reveals just how precarious their situation really is. Suddenly, the boundaries of their safe haven have blurred, and when a stranger wanders into their woods, Finch's growing obsession with her could put them all in danger. After a shocking disappearance threatens to upend the only life Finch has ever known, Cooper is forced to decide whether to keep hiding or finally face the sins of his past. Vividly atmospheric and masterfully tense, These Silent Woods is a poignant story of survival, sacrifice, and how far a father will go when faced with losing it all. If you're interested in These Silent Woods, it comes out October 26th. Still grabbing the mouse every time. Okay, our final book of the day, Grave Reservations by Sherry Priest. Meet Lita Foley, devoted friend, struggling travel agent, and inconsistent psychic. When Lita, sole proprietor of Foley's Flights of Fancy, impulsively rebooks Seattle PD's detective Grady Merritt's flight, her life changes in ways she could not have predicted. After watching his original plane blow up from the safety of the airport, Grady realizes that Lita's special abilities could help him with a cold case he just can't crack. Despite her scattershot premonitions, she agrees for a secret reason. Her fiance's murder remains unsolved. Lita's psychic abilities couldn't help the case several years before, but she's been honing her skills and drawing a crowd at her favorite bar's open mic nights, where she performs clairvoyant karaoke, singing whatever song comes to mind when she holds people's personal effects. Now joined by a ragtag group of bar patrons and pals alike, Lita and Grady set out to catch a killer and learn how the two cases that haunt them have more in common than they would have ever suspected. If you're interested in Grave Reservations, which has such a lovely, colorful cover, it comes out October 26th. All right. So we've gone over our books. If you want any of the books that I've held up, physical copies that I hold up are the ones I have. Put the name of the book and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. Don't forget, I send out a newsletter with every episode that includes all of the books I talk about with links to our catalog so you can put them on hold. If you haven't signed up for that, the link is below. We have our Goodreads group, which we've already talked about. Join us if you would like to. And next week, we're going to talk about romance and historical fiction. So I will see you then. And we'll have more books to give away. Maybe some of these books. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Bye, guys. See you next Tuesday.